You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Judge Torpedoes Trump admin plan in new ruling, based on an article by Nick Hilden. Security torque, retaliation in uniform, a ban disguised as a risk assessment. A federal judge is now leaning harder against the Trump administration's attempt to blacklist Anthropic after the company refused to strip safety protocols from its AI system. The government labeled the company a supply chain risk. But the hearing record, as described here, has pushed the judge toward the opposite conclusion. This was likely punishment for protected speech, not a legitimate security judgment. Who held the power? The power sat with the Pentagon and the Justice Department. They had the authority to designate, ban, and justify. Anthropic had none of that. It could only resist after the fact, which is what made the government's move so revealing. When the state wants to discipline a company, it can wrap coercion in national security jargon and hope the label does the work. What Anthropic actually did, the source says Anthropic refused to remove safety protocols designed to prevent autonomous killing and other dangerous uses of its AI system. That is the core fact the administration wants buried. The company did not get punished for some hidden technical defect. It was targeted after declining to weaken guardrails. In other words, the government's demand appears to have been, make the system more dangerous or lose access. The smear is the story. Calling this a supply chain risk is not neutral language. It is a bureaucratic disguise. The point of the designation was to recast a political retaliation as a technical precaution, to make censorship sound like procurement policy. The judge's reaction matters because it strips that disguise away. When the record gets worse for the government, that means the state's own explanation is collapsing under scrutiny. Safety gets punished, power gets protected. This is a familiar pattern. Institutions that claim to defend the public often punish the people who insist on limits. Here, the target is not a whistleblower, but an AI company resisting pressure to remove safety controls. The administration's posture is not confusion. It is an attempt to subordinate safety to authority, then call the resulting retaliation security. A larger pattern. The deeper lesson is that authoritarian politics does not always arrive with open repression. More often, it arrives through administrative labels, selective enforcement, and the deliberate laundering of motive. A government that can punish dissent by calling it a risk is a government trying to make coercion look like procedure. That is the pattern here, and it is the one worth naming plainly. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article with the automated voice of LJ. Thanks for listening.